General Hospital spoilers teasing that Sonny Corinthos is at a crossroads, his empire, and his very identity, as head of Port Charles's most feared crime family teetering on the brink of collapse. Haunted by the ghosts of his past and shaken by a brush with death, Sonny's dreams, and the sudden reappearance of a son he believed lost forever, force him to confront the impossible choice between the life he's built in blood and the peaceful freedom he's longed for. In two sweeping movements, we'll delve into Sonny's inner turmoil and supernatural visitation in Part 1, then follow the earth-shaking return of Morgan Corinthos and its explosive impact on Sonny and Carly in Part 2. Each beat of this epic tale is expanded into the kind of dramatic, character-driven narrative only General Hospital can deliver. The dream of renewal and the weight of the crown. From the moment Sonny Corinthos awakened on the surgical table, his chest aglow with the precision of doctors' instruments and his heart steady thanks to the miracle of modern medicine and Brick's unwavering loyalty, he sensed the first tremors of change. The heart surgery itself was supposed to be routine, a measure to stave off the relentless pressure of leadership, a chance for Sonny to prove that he could survive without the adrenaline of the underworld. Instead, it laid bare the fragility of his own mortality. As he lay in the sterile confines of General Hospital's ICU, surrounded by monitors that beeped and sighed like living creatures, Sonny faced an unfamiliar companion, vulnerability. In those solitary hours before consciousness fully returned, Sonny's mind drifted back along the jagged timeline of his life. He recalled the days when he was just a kid on the docks, scrapping for every penny, forging alliances with shadows in alleys. He remembered the moment he stepped into his father's footsteps. First trading small favors, then orchestrating deals that echoed with possibility and danger. He recalled the moves that made him feared, from the calculated elimination of rivals to building an empire that reached into every corner of Port Charles. Yet for all his ruthlessness, for every skeleton he buried in the past, there remained a kernel of compassion, brief moments when he chose mercy over murder, reconciliation over revenge. This duality defined him, a villain with a soft heart, a protector who ruled with an iron fist. But as the sedatives wore off and his senses sharpened, Sonny realized that the persona he'd crafted, boss, titan, legend, was no longer enough. The syringe of anesthesia had dissolved more than the pain, it had dissolved the illusions that had long kept him bound to the life he led. The price of power, he now saw, was perpetual warfare. Enemies lurked in every corridor of the city, and friends could turn on him with a whispered rumor. The mafia life was a gilded cage, and Sonny had reached the moment when he craved only open sky. That night, sleep claimed him again, not in the hospital bed, but in a hazy dreamscape where reality warped into memory. He found himself walking a narrow pier at dawn, the chill mist rising from the bay like spirits come to witness his reckoning. At the end of the pier stood a solitary figure, Mike Corbin, Sonny's father, long gone to the grave but as vivid as any man Sonny had ever known. Mike's eyes, gentle yet sorrowful, held the weight of a lifetime of love and regret. He wore his usual attire, a simple button-down, suspenders, and worn work boots, the uniform of a man who understood hardship. Mike's voice, ragged from years of illness, carried the same warmth that had once soothed Sonny's restless spirit. "My boy," Mike said, stepping forward, the wood of the pier creaking beneath him. "You've carried this burden too long." Sonny's throat tightened. "I'm tired, Pop, tired of the wars, tired of the losses. Maybe it's time I walked away." Mike nodded slowly, the sea breeze ruffling his silver hair. "You've earned the right to that peace. You protected this city in your own way, but you were never meant to be chained to violence forever." The dreamscape shifted, showing Sonny scenes from his life, standing over casualties, attending crime family summits, orchestrating daring rescues of innocents caught in the crossfire. Each memory was a stitch in the tapestry of his legend, and a stitch in the chain that bound him to the underworld. "Sonny," Mike continued, voice firm, "you've always been my boy, you had that spark, that righteousness. But the crown of the Corinthos family is heavier than any man should bear. It's time you let someone else wear it." Sonny exhaled, the promise of freedom shimmering like moonlight on water. "I want out, Pop. I want to retire, for Carly, for my kids, for me." Mike's expression softened. "Then do it, son. Step away before it's too late. Find that quiet life we always talked about when I used to tell you stories. In that moment, Sonny felt a release, as if chains had fallen from his shoulders. The dream faded into a commandment: walk away, live for love, seek redemption. But dawn brought its own revelations. Sonny awoke in the hospital room, the artificial lights harsh and unyielding. Brick stood vigil by his side, eyes heavy with relief and concern. "You okay, boss?" Brick asked, voice low. Sonny managed a tired smile. "I've never been more sure of anything. Let's get discharged, time to start planning the next chapter." For the first time in decades, Sonny Corinthos entertained the notion of retirement. He envisioned days without clandestine meetings, nights without whispered threats, mornings spent with Carly, his children, and the family he'd built beyond the mafia. The dream had given him hope. And yet, in Port Charles, hope is a fragile thing, easily shattered by the unexpected. The miraculous return of Morgan Corinthos and the unraveling of Sonny's plans. Sonny's resolve held firm through rounds of discharge preparations and whispered conversations in sterile hallways, until the moment he stepped into the daylight and found himself leaning against the hood of his car in the hospital parking lot, staring into the face of the living embodiment of his darkest fears and greatest joys combined. "Morgan?" Sonny's voice cracked. Standing before him was the son he and Carly had mourned for years, a son whose death had been their greatest heartbreak, whose absence had shaped every decision they made. Morgan Corinthos looked older, leaner, eyes sharp with experiences that only the triumphant can wear. His suit hinted at a life lived beyond Port Charles, but his presence here, at Sonny's hospital doorstep, defied every law of nature Sonny believed in. "Morgan," Carly breathed, rushing forward. Tears blurred her vision as she wrapped her arms around the boy who had once been her baby. Even after all these years, after the funeral that had brought them to their knees, Carly refused to let herself tremble, until now. Sonny felt the world tilt. "What, how?" His voice failed him, but his arms closed around Morgan, as if by holding him he could hold back the tide of disbelief. Morgan's embrace was firm but gentle. "It's me, Dad. It's really me." For a breathless moment, the three of them stood together, father, mother, son, reunited in a tableau that seemed destined for myth. Morgan's heart pounded. He had run from a nightmare beyond imagination, one that had forced him to vanish. The instant he heard of Sonny's surgery, he had known he had to come home, to face the ghosts he'd fled. Carly led them all into a quiet corner of the garage. "Tell us," she whispered, eyes brimming. "Tell us everything." Morgan drew in a slow breath, the kind that precedes confession. "After the shooting, after I was declared dead, I woke up in a place that wasn't Port Charles. They told me I was lucky they found me in time. But I wasn't safe. The same people who attacked me, they silenced me. They said they'd finish the job if I ever spoke. So I had to disappear." Sonny's fists clenched. Who? Who would do this to you?" Morgan's jaw hardened. "The people who thought they could control you through me. They blamed you for stepping away, for thinking you could retire. They saw my return as leverage, so they tried to break me." Carly's voice trembled with fury. "We'll make them pay." Morgan nodded, eyes fierce. "I came back to make sure you don't step away, at least not yet. Because the man who ordered your hit is the same one who held me captive. And he needs to be stopped." Sonny's heart pounded. The life he'd imagined, soft mornings, simple routines, was gone. A new purpose pulsed through his veins: justice, retribution, the roaring force of the Corinthos dynasty unleashed. He met Morgan's gaze. "Then we do this together. For us. For our family." In that moment, the dream of a peaceful retirement shattered against the reality of blood ties and old vendettas. Sonny knew what awaited him, a war more personal than any he'd ever fought, with the lives of his children hanging in the balance. Carly reached out, placing a hand on Sonny's chest. "You always thought you were protecting us by staying in the shadows. Now it's time we protect you." Sonny swallowed. The weight of leadership settled back onto his shoulders, not as a burden, but as a mantle he was born to wear. The Corinthos Empire would rise again, not for power's sake, but to safeguard the family at its epicenter. As the sun sets on this explosive chapter of Port Charles history, the stage is set for a showdown that will redefine Sonny Corinthos' legacy. Father and son united, mother and husband bound by renewed purpose, and a criminal mastermind poised to answer for his crimes. This is General Hospital at its most unforgettable. Tune in this Tuesday to witness the next seismic shift in the Corinthos saga, because in Port Charles, love and vengeance walk hand in hand, and the only promise is that the storm has only just begun.